We're back. Tyler Talks, baby. Coming in hot. Video every day. I'm just kidding. Probably not a video every day, but I do want to do a lot of videos because there's so many decks on my mind. Um, like when I just go through, I know I've done a lot of blue stuff, but I like Creation of this World or Creation of the World and Numerous Has of Stars. I really like that deck with a ton of Son of Jacobs. Like I can just plop out my stuff, boom. Um, Here's my offense. Jay and I were talking earlier, and he was like, I think there's a Unity Patriarch deck with hand control. Thieves, Gad. I was like, yep, you could even go Fallen Star Gad. Orange, blue orange I've done before, but I think there's a lot of variance there. I've had a lot of texts and DMs about the blue offense that I put out. I haven't even touched the surface on like clay and what it can do. We haven't gotten into Pot of Mana and Holy Holies. We haven't gotten into there is a good purple offense. I think Pot of Mana with Post Exilics is really good. So you get all the exchanging under Pot of Mana. There's just a lot of stuff. Silver green and Patriarchs green, and you can just chain into this crazy Jacob the Wrestler to insert OT Angel here and have all sorts of fun with green going to Jacob, going to an angel, going back to like Ezekiel, Watchmen kind of things. So I think there's a lot there. I've always liked blue green. Um, there's a lot of white builds in general. There's Pot of Mana Wilderness. That's very good. So there's just so many decks to put out there. Um, It is the last day of my project. After 3 years and 5 months, I'm done. We have a final call this evening, and that's it. I am done. So I get for all my hard work, all my effort. Praise the Lord. It's it is done, and I get to relax for a few weeks until my next project starts. So y'all know you're gonna get some content. A lot of complex decks, and then there's also going to be some that aren't as complex. I got a couple guest hosts. No, not guest hosts. Guests. I'm the host. They're just guests. Um, Coming on. A lot of different things we're going to do there. So should be a lot of fun. There's also some very simple, strong type 2 decks out there because of roots now. And so I'm going to show that. And I'm going to get into Classic with the format being Scroots, trademark John Early. Scrolls plus Roots equals Scroots, and that's the format for this year for Mr. Classic. So we're also going to have at least one video. I might break it down and just kind of do everything. I know Jaden did last year where he just went through, I think it was like just all Scrolls cards. I'm going to go at kind of more like a theme approach. So channel's going to be going pretty crazy over the next month. I'm really going to enjoy my time off. But let's go. We got a 57 carder today. I think 57 is competitive. Here's the thing. There's not as many in-person tournaments as there used to be. I talked about this before on another video, just recovering from playgroups disbanding and more players now coming into the game and being able to just kind of get in touch with people online. We're not seeing as many playgroups. We're just seeing more players. I do think better times are ahead from a playgroup perspective. Playgroups equals tournaments. And right now, people are going to tournaments thinking they have to I got to win all my games. Not everyone. Don't want to put a blanket approach out there. Players thinking they have to win every game, play at this ultra competitive level. Casual redemption is so fun. If I can just play what I want and have a good time with play groups and just test out some things, it's a lot of fun. So I do want to emphasize that if you have some people in somewhat of a local area to reach out, especially as tournament season is right around the corner. And we just had the Thomas J Memorial, and then we're going to have Mr. Classic, and we had the lead up to Mr. Classics. There's going to be a lot of good tournaments. with that in mind, the I keep hearing like it's 50 or bust pretty much. Like you have to have a 50 card deck. That's fine if that's your preference, by all means. Um, to say 57 isn't competitive, I don't agree with. I just think that we saw a lot more people at nationals last year that were competitive. I said the bell curve was changing, more so kind of like flattening to where there was more competent players, and the middle of the bunch players were very good compared to what we used to have, RLKs, random little kids. We don't really have nearly as many RLKs anymore, and we more so just have competent players. Um, I do think that 57 is competitive, and you'll see more of them out there. We just the last couple of years, like Josh P. Portrats is an amazing player. Congratulations on the engagement. I love it. Happy for him. Can't wait to meet her. Um, he has a very um, peculiar man. I got a work message, so we're done. He has a very peculiar play style and deck building style. Had to do a little pause there, take care of little things on the last day. I was talking about Josh, all in good ways. He has a very successful deck building philosophy, very much an analytical, statistical approach. I love that. Being an NFL fan and just a sports fan, we've seen an uptick in statistical coaches and the analytical coaches, analytical assistants, and how really you see Amazon now with AWS. They're all about probabilities and all that. So really cool to see. It's a different approach to deck building that should be applied. You kind of see Chad see the tree also take a bit more of an analytical approach about making sure you have an X amount of ways to what you need, and just overall enough resources and what you're looking for. He's very big on creating your own your rescues. So what I did, I took Chad's Soul Surfer with a little bit of the Pot of Mana aspect and brought in kind of on just something I wanted to play. And now there's a lot of other things I want to play, like I talked about at the beginning. But when I was looking at the defense at first, I was like, I want to play Mask of Pride, and I want to play Heavy Taxes. Like I just think an interrupt draw 3 with enough things to back it up is good. But I really think this guy with Pot of Mana and Complacent is very good. I also think Pot of Mana with Herod's Temple is insanely good. You'll see I have Simon the Host and Pontius Pilate, Golgotha snags Pontius. What I like to do is, now I don't have the enhancements in for this yet. I'm still kind of testing it out on the offense. I really think there is a Pot of Mana Herod's Temple deck where I can just go Joseph to a hero and have like a 20/20 hero in battle, and I activate Herod's Temple with Pot of Mana out. I think that's very good. I cannot have Pot of Mana in Tabernacle. Oh, I'm sorry, I cannot have Herod's Temple and Tabernacle out at the same time. They're both temples, which I know it's thematic. I get it. I like it. I really wish I could have Herod's Temple, but the whole point is that they are, the same temple at different time frames and rebuilt from a biblical standpoint. And temples have the identifiers of holding their artifact. So you can't just have all these temples out and hold all these artifacts. That's too much. What I'm getting at is I would love to have Tabernacle, to have Pot of Mana and Holy Holies, and then have Herod's Temple. So maybe there's ways. Like Pot of Mana is so much better because it's a restrict. I could have Forsaken in here. Like sure, Holy of Holies I could use. Confusion of Mind Babble. Like there's other ways to kind of stop their banding, but Pot of Mana is like a no. Don't even try it. So if I can just have one character in battle and then I activate Herod's Temple on both offense defense, that's really, really good. I would just want to make sure I have the card Jerusalem and play like all NT, obviously, because of Herod's Temple. And if I can get Pot of Mana Herod's Temple going, and it doesn't matter what I reserve with Jerusalem, I really like that. So I also think that's a deck as well. So I say that because I do have Simon the Host and Pontius Pilate. If blocking alone, you may choose a hero to attack, which that's amazing if I have Pot of Mana. That's amazing either way, but like if I have Pot of Mana and Complacent and the Cross, I'm just pointing at random cards that aren't actually them. The Cross, Complacent, Pot of Mana, Simon the Host, Pontius Pilate, Herod's Temple. I did it again. I just pointed. Herod's Temple. If I have these pieces here and there, I can do different blocks with different pieces. I've quoted Jay before on this, that players are too telegraphed on what they're going to do. It's too easy to see what their next attack or how they're going to block is. So I don't want to do that with this deck. I do want to have different aspects in it. You'll also notice I have the Ascension, and I get to play a clay hero from reserve. Usually that clay hero is what you see as Paul. I like bringing in Humble Seeker, and then I can just exchange with a Meek hero, and then I can protect Meek heroes and Lost Souls. That's really good. If I'm already going to get people in off of Ascension, and now I can interrupt and then protect, like a bunch of these heroes convert. That's just something I haven't seen, and I don't think anyone else has really seen it because it just hasn't been played. You may play a clay hero, so that's a clay hero. It's not New Testament. Doesn't matter that it's symbolic or anything. So I think it's good. It also gives me a nice another way to use some of my heroes if I can't get them to bounce. Like I can just Humble Seeker to a Peter with Herod's Temple. Lost Souls are protected, Peter's protected, and then I can activate the toss. So I like it. Let's see, what else? It's very much a control deck. I like to have the stars that play Salty first turn. So I like to get Salty out, and then my 57 with speed tends to do better than you not being able to do much. Nazareth, it doesn't kill me. I do have Brood of Vipers, but if they get out an early Naz, I'm not a fan of it. I have thought about changing Vain Philosophy to Shipwreck. That's something I keep going back and forth on. I just really like Vain Philosophy with Pot of Mana and these evil characters. That's very good. Especially like Heavy Taxes. That's amazing. Philosophy, probably too amazing. So I really like how Vain Philosophy fits in, especially with Herod's Temple. If I can just Simon the Host, choose you, activate Herod's Temple, I also get the Vain Philosophy. That's awesome. Between the Cross, I want to play Dominance outside of battle with Complacent, and then I can activate the Cross as I want. I have AOC and I have Ascension that the Cross would toss, and then I have the only territory class enhancement on good that I really play as territory class enhancement is Good Seed. And then I have Pretension, which I used to have Duplicity in here. I just don't have the room for everything. I really like Duplicity because I can get the draw 3 and I can go straight into a way into Heavy Taxes. So I'm having a tough time not having Duplicity. It's just I block with an Emperor, Duplicity, draw 3, go into Heavy Taxes. That's just too good. You know what? We're going to 58. I like it too much. We'll cut one from there, right? We'll figure out what to cut. That's just too fun. I'll have an interrupt draw 3, where I get to play from reserve. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know if we would even make this card anymore. It has a star ability. It's not a huge thing, that's fine. But we get the interrupt, We then get to play an enhancement from reserve. We're giving the each player may draw, and it's based on Meek Souls, so I can see that. But having the potential to just go 4 up is huge. But I also can grab, like I can block with Nicodemus, draw 2, play a CBN Duplicity into a Pretension, and I just did 2, 3, 4, 5 with the CBN reserve, and I just drew 7, 2, 5, 6, 7. That's insane. And the other obvious one is either of my Emperors, Duplicity, Heavy Taxes. Especially on Claudius when I get the 4-2. Sure, you can bring another Emperor in that draws. That is good. You could, you really are just going to want to go Claudius, Duplicity, Heavy Taxes. Like, that is just amazing. A 10-11 with a 4-2 and an 0-6 in the battle. That also, they have to draw 2. I get to draw 2. They have to discard 2. I draw 2, and then I draw 3 off Duplicity. That ends the battle, so I don't get the Duplicity draw 3 there on heavy taxes with Duplicity. So that's fine, something to keep in mind. Either way, the fact that I can go into Duplicity into heavy taxes is very good. Duplicity into unsuccessful. I have good reserve access. I just really like this deck, and I think the defense can block. I don't like that I only have 1 add to battle on each side. Oh, that's another deck I'm going to work on, is the Pot of Mana add to battle. You'll see that one very soon. It's probably my favorite deck, and I think it is, I won't say the strongest, but it is extremely strong. I'm really excited to show that one, but I'm really excited to play it too. So let's see. I think we're good here. I always use Judas as a hero. That's why I put him over here. Nicodemus I tend to use as an evil character because X equals number of your Meek Lost Souls. I would love if it was just Meek, but I want to draw 3 and then band to an Empty Tomb hero. And I have Peter, so I could go Nicodemus, draw 3, go to Simon to Judas or Matthew. Like, that's massive, but that's okay. That's another one. I was talking to Jay about it. I said, why? I never made the offense. I talked about it, but I just never put it out there. Nativity banded to the Bethany trio. That is phenomenal. Like, that is very, very good. So that's another one. Another deck, and that gets out from under Holy Holies. So, and you get Lost Child Found. Gets out from a lot of things. So there's just so many things to play right now. And it's not just GOC dominant. I know I'm playing a primarily GOC, but it's not GOC dominant in the meta right now. A lot of good GOC stuff. We're going to see Bethlehem Holy Holies like I keep talking about. But the fact that John and Jay dominated with Pot of Mana Holy Holies really tells you a lot. And they were running Wilderness and like gray stuff. So it's very cool. I do have a name for this deck. It's not the most appropriate name, but a lot of these concepts and the offense, I studied Chad's, which is just a nice way to say stole, right? I studied Chad's Soul Surfer, and I stole it, which is a crappy thing to do. So originally I called this Stool Surfer, but maybe we'll just call it Stole Surfer, right? Have a little nicer name there. So current version's at 57. You could take out an evil character. Oh, we're at 58, right? We added Duplicity, so we would have to take out, I hate to say 2 enhancements, but we're just too heavy on arts. And, 2 forts, 2 sites. Sure, we get to take out a dominant. let's say we took out Duplicity, a Lost Soul, a Dominant, and we're at 55. We take out an evil character. We're at 54. Take out 4 Drachma. We're at 53. Take out, I don't even know, a hero. I hate to take out Judas. We take out a hero. We're at 52. So we can get there, but I just don't like losing that much speed into even into a heavy taxes or Duplicity off of Saul. Like I get to take something and then Duplicity into Arrest and Philippi. That's really good. Nicodemus Duplicity is real good. I like having the extra Dom with the Lost Soul, especially in an OT. And Wicked right now is very good. Simon the Host with Herod's Temple. I get the extra draw 4, and I get the hand control with Judas, while I have a couple other cards that are hitting your hand. So, like I said, I just like it at 57. I think it's good. And we are going to go into it. I don't know if I ever took a screenshot. So before I just mess everything up, just in case, I can put this on Discord. Y'all know I love sharing everything with y'all. Can't keep anything to myself. Just in case I didn't do that. All right. So we'll flip into it real quick. I just have it as potty because it was supposed to be pot of mana. It's going to be like Herod's Temple stuff, but don't worry about that. Nothing to see here. I forgot this version does have Resurrection. Check this out. Originally Resurrection was out for Angel of the Lord. This has obviously Resurrection in, and it was another way to kind of get out a temple and a hero and a 57 with like a good block or a good rescue. Either way, I was holding Angel of the Lord because I always had like the cross or complacent. I was always holding Angel of the Lord, and yeah, you can play it outside of battle. At least with the Resurrection, I could also play Resurrection out of battle too, and kind of get 2 cards. So I felt like Resurrection was good in that aspect. So I look at my stars, top deck a Gospel Hero from deck. I don't have a way to get it unless I didn't go first. Like if they went first, so I'll do the little roll and see. This would be for my opponent. This would be for me. They would get to decide. Usually they would let, I would think, if I have no Lost Souls, you would let, that one's always tough. It's like I let you go first because you have no Lost Souls and hope you can't do anything, and then I get to draw 3 unless I can just start drawing. So from here, if they let me go first and I wouldn't be able to draw, I would not top deck a Gospel Hero because I would use Denarius. Between Brood and Trapping, Vain Philosophy, my D3, Plot to Kill, and an Emperor, I don't really care if I draw a Lost Soul. I don't want to, but I feel confident about a block. So let's assume they let me go first. And we just go straight into Denarius. And now we have the decision to make. All these amazing cards in our hand. What do we get rid of? If I attack, I can go to Matthew, and I have nothing to play on Matthew. But then I have the Resurrection. I could also go Angel of the Winds into one piece of my Bethany trio and still have Resurrection. So I still have Philosophy, Abandon Judas. Why? What is wrong with me? Judas. And I still had that philosophy to play plus resurrection. I think I discard Royal Parade. Not a huge fan of it, of discarding Royal Parade. Um, I just think I have enough attacks and I want to be able to block for sure. So I get that draw 2. We did get complacent. Um, so now, do I play Resurrection early? Because I cannot play Resurrection, or do I hold it? Um, I could also put down all my characters, and I would have to do the math in my head of what I would be netting. So if I put down all 5 and I played Resurrection, I could then play Mayhem, get rid of 4 and draw 2. I'm not a huge fan of that, especially when I could already draw a lot. Um, and if I go to if I play Resurrection now, I would get Peter and Herod's Temple, which Peter could also get Herod's Temple. I just don't see a lot of value there. I can get Joanna. I just not. That kind of screwed me right there. I guess I go. Gotta know. We have Mary, so we need to know who we go to. Who bans to Mary? To the Bethany trio, or the duo in this case. And then we're getting out Lazzy, so we only get to draw 1. But we may convert a Bethany hero to Meek to negate evil cards. I guess we could have put out Mary of Bethany first and convert Mary of Bethany and then banned her in and not used Lazarus. I think that's ideal. And I get to draw 1 because it's Bethany heroes in battle. And then that would have kept me Lazarus next turn. And then I could have converted Lazarus and still got the ban. So I'll say that on me is a misplay because Complacent's already out. I don't need the restrict. And I'm also messing myself up because I want Judas out there and not Mary. And that is me when I get into too much of stuck on one card and I mess my own self up. That can lose you the game, what I just did. I potentially don't have a strong attack next turn, and now I can't play Judas because Mary negates other characters and territories. So, not ideal, Tyler. I'm negating evil cards with 2 characters in battle. We'd see what they could do if they, once again, it feels like Scattered could always hurt me turn 1. Like, if you play Scattered Sheep, Abandonment, just assume you're going to get a block on me turn 1. I'll put down Judas, who just kind of sits there and mopes. I really don't like the idea of putting down all my characters because if I put down Entrapping, I can at least exchange, like with Brood. If I put down Brood, I can't exchange. So, if they had Nazareth turn 1, like if they got to go and they had Nazareth, I block from hand, I negate and underdeck Nazi. So it's very good to have. I did get lucky in that aspect. 4 dominance is kind of crazy, and 57 cards with Complacent, that's not cool. I could negate and underdeck my own card in territory. I could put Lazarus underneath, or I can put Mary of Bethany underneath and get my Judas working. So I could do that, assuming I'm even blocking. But before they attack, usually I would play Vain Philosophy. So I would play Vain before they attack, assuming they don't have hand protection. Go into Brood of Vipers. If I really want to make my Judas work, I would send Mary to the bottom, get my Judas working. Exchange to Entrapping. I already Vain Philosophied them. Now they got to do something else. Depending on what I saw, that's also why I really like Philosophy Squared. It's Vain Philosophy with Philosophy. So Vain Philosophy Squared is because I get to look at your hand, underdeck something, and then I know if I'm playing Philosophy, I'm discarding your um, Son of God. So I definitely think there's potential. We've seen so many primarily one brigade defenses. I do think there's a Philosophy Confusion defense. Um, you could play DOU. You could play DOU. Um, the other one that gets the shuffles up to 3 or any number of meeks. But if you're playing DOU, you can just play the other one as well, and just a hireling, and confusion and philosophy with unsuccessful. I think there's something there. So anyway, I saw your hand. If I need to play philosophy here, I'd play it. If not, I just have my negate with the Vain Philosophy and an Entrapping Pharisees. I feel very good about that block, especially when there's no dominance, assuming you can get around that. From here, we do have Peter now. And what's so nice is Peter holds 4 drachma, Golgotha holds the cross, so when I look at my deck, I can keep New Covenant active or Pot of Mana active. I really like Herod's Temple with Holy Holies. Herod's Temple does hold Holy Holies, and I can play Bethlehem with a Luke offense. It's very good. I can go into 4 drachma coin, give it a little shuffle. I don't know if that shuffled. And then from here, we want to put tokens in our territory first. And this is a New Testament card that doesn't break Unity. Is that correct? I'd have to double check. But we do want Meek Souls to get the draw off duplicity. That was another thing. Like, I want to have Meek Souls for pretension and Meek Souls for duplicity, which is what people are complaining about. Don't blame them in that aspect. I don't have Salty out yet, but I have Harvest Time. I can play Harvest Time outside of battle because of Complacent. I can play Harvest Time for 2. Oh, I forgot. I can play it for 3. I have a 58 card deck now. I can play it for 3. 1, 2. Now, if I said 2 up front, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There you are, 8. If I said 2 up front, I got to do 2, but you have to select the number first. Cut me some slack. This is brand new. I put nothing in there yet. I have to make my tokens, so I'm going to go 1, 2 for Distressed and Wicked. I assume you have an OT. I don't need to have any more than 3. I could probably put 2 in your territory. And then I want Salty and Patmos. And now I can shuffle. I could put down characters and play Resurrection and play Woes and play Mayhem. And I could draw more. It really just depends on how I want to attack here. I do have Complacent out. Distressed out. Judas out. Wicked out. Salty, Humble, and I'm negating Old Testament humans in battle. It's just a lot I have already on turn 2. So I don't feel like I need to quote unquote waste a bunch of DOMs because they could definitely try to rescue Complacent and I can just go into a Resurrection. I try to get Complacent out early and then get the cross. So from here, having Complacent is very nice because I like going to Justin Martyr in this deck. I used to never be a Justin Martyr fan because I just didn't feel like, even though he got a negate and draw 3, it was that great. But then I have cards like Day of Judgment, Philosophy, and Lost Child Found, to where I have strong enhancements to back him up that makes sense in the deck. Especially when I have Angel from the Sun, I get a draw 2, then I search for a card, and then I get a negate and a draw 3 and a play the next. It's very good. From here, once again, it just depends on what do I want to do. I like using Philosophy as evil to get rid of your Son of God or Second Coming. And then play Day of Judgment. And I still have a negate to back them up. So it's very good. And I have 8 in hand. With an interrupt, discard, band, a negate, and discard. So nothing I can do with these dominants, really. I don't have Pot of Mana, but we'll see. It's still turn 2, and I could have drawn there, but I do feel good about what I have out. So yeah, from here, I keep hitting Brood of Vipers. It's CBN because of my Meek Soul, so I'm going to keep hitting Brood of Vipers and hit your territory. Whatever your best card is in your territory, I'm going to keep hitting it. So I'm going to get 1 card away from your territory, and then essentially 1 card away from your hand, and then I can interrupt and band. And there's a lot of characters that are really good at banding in. Like if I don't have to Brood of Vipers, then I can block with Nero. Like if you get rid of my Complacent, I can block with Nero, go to Tenet's Kills, go to Brood, get rid, go here, put you in Special Initiative, and discard a hero. That's one of my favorite blocks because I'm not worried about Angel Lord. I'll be honest, I'm a very confident player, not if I don't have to worry about any of your dominance, and I feel like I'm in control. I talked about that before in a video. Why are you losing? Like, what's making you lose? I still hear people that I'll get nervous in games, and I'll hear other people that are nervous in games. And then look at people that are confident and comfortable in games. They are not going to make misplays. They're not going to be tilted. They're going to pilot their deck correctly. What makes you confident? Whenever you play, what makes you confident? That's what you need to harp on. Whoops. Nothing to see here. Now I can play a Lost Soul from a deck. I could play one from theirs and triggering another Meek token if I need to, but I don't really need that. I know this is abuse, but it's for my own benefits. From here, if there's anything I want to play, I like playing 3 woes before the cross to have my negate out, and it also depends. Like what do I feel like I need to negate? If I have Brood of Vipers and 3 woes, like that's a lot. I can just keep a negate on something and Brood of Vipers something else. If I need to hit if they have Storehouse out, leave their Storehouse alone and just keep hitting them with Entrapping Pharisees, whatever it may be. So whatever I need, I can play 3 woes as. I can put stuff down. I can play Resurrection. I like keeping Resurrection too because it gets back Herod's Temple from discard. And an Empty Tomb hero, so I can get back Nicodemus as well. But it does play it, so which you could always bounce. So I could play right here and get out Herod's Temple. I don't like hiding things. I don't like layering them that much. If I'm in person, I want to make sure that they are easily seen. And if I layer, it's because it's like not ongoing or something. And then I get to play an Empty Tomb hero. Now that would stop, quote unquote, stop the clock before my turn. There's not really too much I want to do here from a crowd's choice perspective. Like if I go to a character and play it, I can't play Good Seed because Salty. I kind of like keeping this in reserve so I can snag it. So I can play crowd's choice, and then it's just a matter of what am I getting. So I can play it as good. because I kind of was thinking I would grab New Covenant. Maybe Sheol. Sheol would have been the right play, I think. So I can grab New Covenant. I would have rather done Sheol there. And now I can play Mayhem. And now I was hoping for Golgotha. I'd like to play Golgotha, and I would probably go into a Son of God here, and then flip over. I'd put another annoying Lost Soul. Just depends on what they have. Like if they're playing OT, I'm putting Accusers in Golgotha. If they're playing, I don't know. I mean, it really just depends. Like maybe Distressed is always a good one. And then I activate the cross. And I still have New Covenant. Because at this point, it's pretty much like, hey, you got to make your rescue. But guess what? I just stopped the clock. I get 30 seconds now. So I would have to decide deck or reserve. I'm going to go to deck. And the cross is going to toss Ascension. And I cannot get Philosophy. So my only target is Love One Another and Lost Child Found. I did draw, so I am worried about a Foreign Wives. The last thing I want is to be chump blocked by a Foreign Wives. That always tilts me. So at this point, we have a Love One Another. That Lazarus did kind of mess us up. So we would just have to see, because we have Martha, Mary, and Lazzy, but I don't get to negate evil cards. I'm already restricting dominance, so it's really just they have to reserve an evil card from their hand. I want to do more than that, so I guess we go Angel of the Winds. Whoops. And to Matthew. And flip. I'll just give myself a 3 there. Don't really have much. All I have is the Love One Another. So I only have 2 Meeks as well. So I only get the 2. I might just go hit their territory and die, to be honest. Or I just die. I don't know if I love that. And I think I just realized I took out my way to bounce. Yeah, I did. So I will need to bring in, it used to be Send the Helper was in here. So I think we bring Send the Helper back in and take out 1 card for Send the Helper. And get that way to bounce. I completely forgot about that. Oh yeah, we're already at 8 cards in hand. I feel really strong about blocking. Wish I had Sheol, but oh well. Depending on whatever they have. I mean, I'm tossing CBN. Cross is out, Salty's out. They're really going to have to do something about negate neutrals, but I have Brood of Viper, that's CBN. And if I thought they were going to have negate neutrals, I would have 3 woes. So I'm not too worried. I definitely feel like I'm in the pilot seat, and I have a ton of my big blocks. So from here, I would go Terrifying Beast, discard a character. So I'm hitting Brood of Vipers, Entrapping Pharisees, Terrifying, like I am getting rid of your characters or cards from your hand. I go into Claudius, and you already know anything they play can be interrupted, so that's why you'll see almost all my stuff is interrupt or negate because I have Cross in here. Salty, Cross, Complacent, it's just very hard to deal with, especially when I can hit all your territory class characters so easily. So I play Duplicity, and I get to interrupt the battle. and play. If I needed the draw 3, I could do the draw 3 here. I wouldn't need to do heavy taxes. I can just go into unsuccessful. Um, I don't have to do that. I can just go straight into heavy taxes, and they have to discard 2, and I get the draw 2 and the battle. That's a ton. That's a ton you had to get rid of and deal with, and I didn't have to do anything but play a duplicity. From here, you'll see my only upkeep trigger is 3 woes. And if you're having trouble remembering upkeep triggers, play a deck that doesn't have many. The more upkeep triggers you have, the more complex your deck is. Doesn't necessarily make it better. Usually it means you can grab more resources. But yeah, it doesn't make it necessarily better. But if you're missing your upkeep triggers, I've seen people miss the upkeep triggers and then they're like, crap, I forgot that. And then it's all of a sudden like it's a spiral effect because people miss stuff. And you don't have to do that. You just switch up your deck. I've told people before, if you keep forgetting that card, just take it out for something else that gives you more value. Pretty simple concept. From here, I really just want to go into a pot of mana. I know it took me too long to get pot of mana, but that's okay because we have just so much in general overall control where we're popping their characters. And if they are banding, then Entrapping Pharisees is always hitting their best one in battle. They would have to do a lot of banding. So I don't mind them banding. Ascension isn't going to do anything while I have the cross up. I only have 7 cards in deck, and that's really the one I'm looking for. And so I would try to get one more little strong rescue here at the end. And I think it's as simple as Zechariah. I mean, I know I just saw the top 2. But yeah, I think it's as simple as Zechariah, where we just get the draw 2, prevent next. I could go, his opponent has hand advantage, so before I just shove that out there, I was saying I could go Simon to Judas as well and get a draw 2, but I don't really care for that as much. That would give me the ability to play Love One Another. It just depends if I think they have a Foreign Wives or not. So I got to be careful on that drawing 2. I think the best thing would be Peter to Judas to maintain my draw 2. Not have to worry about putting anyone down. And still having Love One Another. Not a ton of crazy good blocks. I really miss not having a bounce for Lazzy because I would just go right into the Bethany trio. So poor deck building on my part. I have a couple variations of this, and I just missed on that card. So, and there's ways with characters that you can bounce to. Like if I had to, I could underdeck my Lazarus. It's not a huge deal. So yeah, from here, I don't have too much. But with, what am I doing? I have Pot of Mana out. So the whole point, having Pot of Mana, I wouldn't want to draw because Foreign Wives can just about be an auto block. Unless I want it, yeah. So I just put out Simon, convert him to Meek, and I have Herod's Temple if I want to, depending on Love One Another. So once again, I do feel like I can block for days. I really like this defense. I liked it beefed up a little bit with popping Lost Souls down, especially Salty. Salty really hurts the Pot of Mana Holy Holies deck I'm seeing. Because I have all the ways to Salty, and that really stops the pieces to get like delivered and Covenant with David, to get the temple and the other artifact you need, like whether it be Pot of Mana or Holy Holies. Same with the cross. Like if I can get the cross out, that'd be really nice too, because they can't play Glory of the Lord. So Yeah, that's about it. I put down Simon. I mean, I try to make it a toss battle. Just depends. Like there's tons you can do here. Um, it's all whatever they have out. Like I could hit their hand and still have a 2 hero ban and hitting their hand, or I can go out with Joanna, um, and maybe I can try to play good seed off Joanna in battle. That would be nice. So not too worried. Um, really my last, because now I have Pot of Mana up. You're in the driver's seat. Now you're hitting with Brood of Vipers and exchanging to Entrapping Pharisees. And you are usually winning the resource advantage because of Duplicity, Mask of Pride, and Fear of Man. You're getting the interrupt, you're getting the enhancement, you're getting the draw threes, you're getting the takes. So the actual enhancements are built for the defense, just to help out. So with Pot of Mana being up, assuming it's not negated or they take care of it somehow, more than likely I go Brood of Vipers to like Simon and choose the hero. I really like just going Mask of Pride. Wish I had Nicodemus. Nicodemus with Pot of Mana, Complacent, Cross. Like, more than likely I'm winning that battle. Like, anything that CBN is tossed, you can't play a Dominant because Cross Complacent, and all my stuff is CBN. And it's one-on-one with Pot of Mana. Like, this right here, that is brutal for you to get around. And it's what I want. So it's something that's really hard for you to get around, and it's something I'm wanting to get to. So maybe I take aspects of that where I have Pot of Mana, like the offense that goes to Pot of Mana really quick, and Nicodemus Cross, and that's like the basis of the deck. That could be something. I really like that. It would look something similar to what John and Jay had, with a real heavy focus on Cross Nicodemus. So yeah, CBN on him all day, baby. So yeah, after that, I choose and or I choose and activate Herod's Temple because I'm a 3/11 with a 6 and a 6 to toss and a 5 to toss. So it really just depends on what I want to play. If I did Herod's Temple for the toss and chose your little dude, there's not really much you're gonna do. Let's say I toss that just because I did the draw 3, and then I'll draw my 3. So yeah, that's I don't need to keep going into the deck. I can draw for Second Coming, knowing it's right there. I could flip over the Cross and go New Covenant, AOC, Angel, Simon. Remember, I still have Complacent. They would have to get around Complacent, choose the blocker, play AOC. Like, I have that as well. So I'm not too worried about a last-minute rescue. So I really like this deck. This defense is blocking all day. I feel good about it. I do think this deck is just the beginning of Herod's Temple, Pot of Mana, Add to Battle, all sorts of just crazy, crazy stuff. My final point, the bigger the card pool, the more decks. And it's not just the bigger the card pool, it's the cards are really good. POC was good, but then it felt like we got more themes that weren't really, like, I loved the block. Like, it started from Fall of Man, and it said, hey, this is literally the fall of man. This is when it all started. This is where Adam and Eve sinned and what happened after that. And then we go into the prophecies of Christ saying, hey, we are saying, here's all the things that are going to happen. And when these are happening, it's a signs of Jesus being born. And then it's like, well, before Jesus is born, we're going to show you the entire genealogy, which is phenomenal. The entire bloodline. of Jesus, so the lineage of Christ, and then it goes into gospel of Christ. What I like about all those sets, it told this entire story, but they all had different themes, and it was really cool. So you take this overall theme of Christ coming for our sins from the very beginning of Fall of Man, Christ coming to cleanse us from our sins that we did from the very beginning all the way through. So the overall theme was there. Lineage, having the bloodline being red, like all this really cool stuff. The good and the bad about that was there's a ton of themes, and they played really well with together. It just seemed like GOC was so much stronger, which it's the gospel, like that's awesome. That it kind of overshadowed, not foreshadowed, that was POC. It overshadowed the other themes, as well as we went through our very first rotation. So there's also that. So the last thing is then we're going to the Israel block, new starters, Israel block, and then roots. We have all sorts of good cards. We have simpler cards that are very strong. We have all new themes that are strong. We have new ways for the dominance in IR. I still think are underrated, but just because people don't want to lose their stuff on 40 years, and we've already shown ways to abuse that. But the fact that I can keep all my stuff out on the table with 40 years by playing like a GOC defense with Herod's Temple and with Noah's Ark, there's potential I can keep whatever I want on the table. So it's really nice that I can manipulate a lot of things. We've seen how good Add to Battle is. It's funny, Jay called me and he was like, you know that Wilderness deck you made at Nationals and whooped up with a bunch of people on it, and you made it in like 10 minutes? I was like, yeah. He was like, yeah, that deck's amazing. And we just started laughing about it, and it's like, yeah, that didn't even have roots, obviously. I think people are still playing GOC with other cards, and that's good. Like, just bring it all together. My main point, which takes me forever to get to, sorry. My main point, and this is the final point, I promise, that the overall game, in order for you to win, you have to be a better player. I know that's very simple, like a no duh, but because the amount of cards in the card pool is high, plus they're all good. Like I've said, Roots has a ton of good stuff. IR has really good themes in it, and then you have GOC that just got this buff with Roots as well. And then Wilderness and Priests got a buff with Pot of Mana. Bethlehem can play Ruth with Holy Holies. Like, there's all sorts of stuff you can do right now. If you want to win or be competitive, you're going to have to play some really strong competitive decks and know how to play them. That's it. With all the cards that are really good in rotation, just know that the competitive level of Redemption is moving up. So that's my final point. I know there's stuff all over the board. I was going all over the place with this deck. Remember, this is kind of like the foundation of what we're going to show for a few very complex decks moving forward. But I hope you all enjoyed it. This is a lot of fun to play. Getting back to, I know it's quote unquote, getting back to the roots. Just having one character in battle with Pot of Mana and Complacent is really fun, especially when I flip this bad boy over. I mean, I'm gonna win. I'm built to where you can't play Dominance, you can't play anything CBN, you can't have more than one character in battle, and I'm gonna make sure I get rid of all your stuff, put you in Special Initiative, and I'm gonna purely out-negate you. So we will focus on Cross, Pot of Mana, Nicodemus, and Add to Battle in a future deck, in a future video. So expect more things. But once again, thanks for watching. It's going to be a fun week. I got all sorts of stuff planned. Sorry this was an hour-long video. So thanks, y'all. Bye.